the lead.
Go for it.
Count me down, and I'll introduce it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. And by that I mean I've just completely nicked my co-host phrase, but I'm saucy like that. My name is Lawnboys Post 1975, and I have with me. That was your cue, by the way.
Yeah, I know. The nerd genius himself, of course, Michael Burhan, ladies and gents. I'm sorry. It's 3 a.m. I've got probably about 3 hours before I have to wake up later on to head off to the XL Exhibition Centre, where I'm going to be doing some interviews at the MCM London Comic Con.
You sexy bastard, you.
So, in kind of in like lieu to
Is
that,
that even a real descriptive
yes,
term?
in lieu to that, in aid of that, to commemorate the fact that I'm going to be going to this, which is going to be my last con in the United Kingdom, by the way, as I won't be going to
Sexy.
play Manchester, I won't be doing EGX this year. This is going to be my last one, and you know, a lot of it is just due to some other stuff which I can talk about in a vlog later on. Now, what I'm talking about here is I'm going to be talking to loads of like different TV celebrities, guys who've been on TV shows like
We
Fringe.
talked about last night. Get Felicia Day to say sexy biscuit.
Yes, Dave wants to have Felicia Day as well. I've got a favour that Jamie's asked me to make for her as well, so we're going to be doing that. I've got my camera. I'm going to be shooting a lot more, trying to get a lot more interviews in. So I'm going to be about 8 to 10 different interviews exclusively on the Retro Random channel. So if you go to youtube.com/Retro Random, and currently on the channel as well, we have the Bedrooms to Billions live Q&A session. It was a good session on there. They're also coming out with a new uh, film, aren't they, called The Atari Years.
Yes, which I'm very, very excited about.
Me too. And I've
Plus, people out there I'm pretty sure everyone knows what Bedroom to Billions is, but if you haven't, I have a very fond, nostalgic feeling towards this documentary simply because that's my era. That's my, you know, lock, stock, and barrel of gaming, which is the early formative years of British bedroom programmers. So go and buy it. It's awesome. In
and
fact, my biggest complaint that I see on the forums about Bedrooms to Billions is some people say it's too long.
what it is too long, but at the same
No,
level
it's
is
not, because it's a nostalgia rocket of fucking candy up your ass. Like
I
I
agree.
could have watched a 6 hour cut of that.
I agree on your stance on that, and I agree with you totally that I don't think it's too long. But for a feature, it is too long because a lot of people you have to sit through that.
Well, I
But
would
I
like
agree
to
with you.
ask you and disagree with you in 1 second, which is thank you for disagree with you for thank you for agreeing with me. Never mind. Um, the spectrum bit when they talk about the spectrum, that 5 minutes at it starts, I put it on loop and had a nerdgasm, and I just think they should do. In fact, scrap the Atari years, even though I'm really excited about it. I want a fucking whole video, 2 hour long documentary about the ZX Spectrum.
For those people out there, by the way, if you've never seen this movie, and you want to learn about retro gaming, this is the definitive movie to do so. Back when I
And
was
you
a
want
kid,
to learn about how pivotal the UK was in the early. You look at modern consoles. Forget like the NES in North America and Famicom in Japan and stuff like that. But if you want to understand where like home computing and gaming, basically gaming, really took off, it was the UK in the early 80s.
yeah, it's basically the industry itself had this big boom where kids were being taught at schools with the BBC microsystems, and you had like this.
Which is a good point. I just got sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, Van. Which is how often do you get this? Which is a computer comes along that's endorsed, sponsored by, and has the corporate logo and named by the biggest TV channel at the time. Unheard of. That's like saying it's not the Sega Mega Drive, it's the Channel 4 Mega Drive. Later on, we'll watch Friends.
Yeah, and I sorry about the long pause, and I just had to read a message. Um, but the whole thing about it, and in terms of that is kids like from younger than my age, back when I think I was learning the ZX Spectrum as like a
A weak
5-year-old,
little Burhan, if you will.
very very little Burhan. And my older brother was basically using it because he wanted to program. He wanted to start programming. He had a tape drive. He had the Spectrum. The one thing about the little system was that it used to heat up and die. Literally, this thing would. If you're thinking about like your Xboxes and your Red Rings of Death, think about this thing. This thing would blow up.
Yeah. Britain beat you to it, Microsoft.
It would
In
blow up.
fact, there was This is true. Not the Spectrum, but the ZX81 that was the precursor to the Spectrum. True story. In ZX81 magazine, someone came up with a handy tip for cooling down your computer, which was take a fresh pint of milk out of your fridge and stand it on 2/3 backwards on the top of your keyboard.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well. The keys were like you'd basically be pushing your finger down these little pressure pads in order to program.
What does Clint from Lazy Game Review call it? He said it's like fondling a zombie.
Pretty much, it's like one of those old, and I think you could compare that to the ColecoVision pads. We call them in the UK Coleco, but it was the ColecoVision.
No, we don't. We call it Coleco.
I used to call it Coleco. Anyway.
No, yeah, I was just going to say, I was almost going to thank you then, but when you said Coleco, I almost said it like you then, fuck. When you said Coleco, so thank you for calling it correctly.
Sorry. Yeah, the ColecoVision, which had the same kind of thing, because every time you had to press down the button, especially when you're playing like Mousetrap or games that just you couldn't just use the side triggers.
Top of your fingers were like Popeye's forearms.
Yeah, it was literally giving you a fucking workout for your fingers, and you used to have like the little. It's like the Amstrad, the Atari Jaguar, sorry, where they had those little panels where you'd put the keys and each key would be used for something.
Oh god, the Atari Jaguar control pad was like fucking a phone with a D-pad at the top.
That's basically what the ColecoVision pad was, and that kind of came from the ZX Spectrum. The ZX Spectrum was one of those little systems where you could learn to program, but it was a really big chore in order to do so. So my brother and
But
me...
it was really good with that though, because if you look at all the breakdowns on the keys, you could hold shift and all the keys had literally the word on them underneath the actual letter. So you could hold shift down and it made coding really, really quickly and easy, even though I never did it.
But that's true, and that's the big thing here. It's one of those things where it brings out a whole generation of programmers. And what I'm talking about, what I'm trying to allude to in kind of a roundabout way here with Dave, is that Bedrooms to Billions allowed us to actually see the industry in a very big fashion. It condensed probably years, like a whole century worth of information into a 6-hour movie. Into it was about 3-4 hour movie.
2.5?
2.5, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know because I've got the standard cut. I think it's a different cut on Blu-ray.
I think I watched the special edition cut when I was in the cinema, but it was it's a big movie. It's big, and for those of you who are not into documentaries, it's a chore to watch. I will agree on that.
I disagree.
For those who love documentaries and love finding anything about gaming, it's amazing. Look, compare this to stuff like the gaming years, like
I'll give you that one, Burhan, actually, because obviously I was totally invested in this when I watched it, from day one, simply because of my gaming history. But yeah, you raise a good point actually there, which is if you're approaching it outside of this sort of love or fondness of retro and shit, I can see that it would be a bit long. Whereas I just thought, because I'm a nerd, keep going. I never want you to stop. Never stop. Can we be friends forever?
Yeah, and that's the big thing here. It works to those kind of standards of it's documentary consensus. This isn't a big screen blockbuster, and the funny thing about it is film goers are kind of trained with shorter attention spans.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And shiny effects.
Yeah, and it goes back to the whole thing what Simon Pegg said about the comic book film industry, which we're going to kind of touch on today in today's show, because we're going to talk about our main theme, which is comic books.
I think we should just talk about ZX Spectrum.
But the whole idea behind this is that people are, and we're not stupid. We just got short attention spans, and the reason being is everyone's doing something now. We the back in the day when you had the ZX Spectrum, when you had PCs and stuff, people weren't running around at the rat race every 5 minutes, working every single hour God sends and
And you
earning
didn't
next to
get those
nothing.
big shiny events which just went, at least until the Mega Drive, which is coming this Tuesday. It's Sonic Tuesday. You just then back in the day, games just happened. They popped out. You
Yeah,
know.
and this was the thing. This gave a chance for younger people like myself at the time to go out and make games. Games weren't under copyright. When Nintendo came in, when Sega came in, this was after the gaming crash, which Nintendo wholeheartedly managed to
Which
bring.
can I? True story, by the way. Part of the reversal of the original gaming crash was because of the popularity of systems in the UK and bedroom programmers. You're welcome, world.
And that's the thing, though. That's the thing. It's a managed to kind of integrate the environment itself has become a lot more integrated in comparison to what it was then. Everyone was flooding the market with their own version of the game. Atari wanted a version of Pac-Man. The Pac-Man story is hilarious in this movie if you haven't seen it.
Oh, it's brilliant. Yeah.
And it's just about this one dude. He had to program a game that looked like Pac-Man. Now, say if you asked me to like program this game and I knew about programming and stuff, and they said we want a version of, the Assassin's Creed Unity on the 7th gen platforms, what would you do? You would basically break down the code, and you would
You steal it. You
you would
basically nick it.
yeah, and you would demake the game. What this dude was like, I saw Pac-Man and I made something like that. That's all it was. He didn't even do that. He didn't take the original source code and re-engineered it. He was just like, I've got 4 hours to do this. Let's go and just make our own version of Pac-Man, and it looked like shit. What they said where they buried the ET cartridges? They've
Yeah.
actually buried the Pac-Man cartridges in there as well. And part
Nice.
of the reason why the Atari died a very painful death and why the industry crashed partly was due to Pac-Man and ET.
Yes. No, that not partly do. Those two games are because they what was it? They how many millions of copies of Pac-Man and ET do they make? That they only sold 1/5 or something. Don't quote me on that, but which it hence
And
the
that's
fact
the
that they're
thing.
now buried in the desert. But
Um, from what appeared in that movie, and what's been confirmed was they had 1 million consoles out, but they made 2 million
that's
copies of
it.
the
Yes.
game.
Sorry. Yeah.
And you're like, how are you supposed? It means you've got to sell
Yeah.
2 copies to every household that has a console.
You see, and now when I found that fact out, it's funny because hindsight, even though I wasn't Atari back in the day, is a wonderful thing. But even you and me can sit down with a blank piece of paper in front of us and do the maths. That's right, people. I said maths, not math. Which is so you've made more copies of games than systems you actually have in households. Are you stupid?
I agree with you, and that's the thing. The maths don't work out. It's like with supermarkets. If you've ever worked in retail, supermarkets have this thing where every single financial quarter they will need to get you to put a certain amount of money into your basket. So for every person that comes in, the average person sells 20 quids, buys 20 quid's worth of goods from a supermarket. What they try to do is get you to spend £5 more. So it's your job as a cashier to get the person to actually spend £5 more worth of goods. So what would you do? It's a technique called upselling, and you would upsell. Now with this marketing strategy that they tried with basically ET, 2 million copies, 1 million units. The maths don't add up, and it doesn't matter how good of a salesman you are. No one is going to buy two versions of a cartridge unless they're a
I'm gonna
collector.
buy one for my son and one for my daughter because I love them both equally.
But I own one console in the household.
Exactly.
My kids, for those kids that won't share, buy an extra copy of Pac-Man. What
Yeah.
they could have done is done a buy one get one free, or like two for a tenner or
Oh
something
my
like
god!
that.
How they should have marketed it. It should have been Pac-Man. It's a game for the middle class.
Damn fucking straight. But that's the big thing here, and it talks about this, and it talks about how the British gaming craze became so big, it was almost like rock and roll. You know, they talk about the Oliver twins, who basically at one point were the British gaming industry.
What's this the statistic? It was absolutely insane, wasn't it? Which is in 1 year alone, they sold 16, 20% of the entire games in England were basically made by them.
Pretty much that.
Insane.
And that's the big thing. And they've talked about the fact that nowadays, though, and this is the weird thing about this, we've kind of gone, because when I watched this movie, and I watched the movie back at EGX, it was in 2014, round about, I believe, September, October time, Dave, right? And
Yeah.
it got me thinking, because I was talking to the directors, I was talking to the Olivers, and I was even talking to
They're such nice blokes as well.
yeah, you know, and I have to admit, every single guy in the UK gaming industry, the old school guys, very approachable. They don't give a fuck. That you can talk to them, which is a great
And
thing
they're
about it.
scary twins. I mean this in a good way. And I can say this, Oliver twins, because I am a twin as well, but they are one and the same in the sense that they finish each other's conversations.
But that's the big thing, you know. And the issue I find with the industry and what happened was it died a painful death because Nintendo and Sega made all these constraints, and these guys were, and the problem was, like with any big boom, everybody was spending boatloads of cash but didn't have the way to make the money back. You had gaming, and this is what most of them said the downfall of the UK industry was. You had guys with gaming experience trying to manage companies,
Yeah.
and people in suits who are part of these companies taking advantage of them. Gaming execs,
It's
producers. It became very Hollywood.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's a really good analogy, which is back then it was blokes in their blokes, kids in their bedrooms programming, not because they wanted to be rich or popular or famous or anything like that, but just because they had a passion for doing it. Now, if you want to get back then it was like, I got an idea for a game. I want a bloke to jump around the screen and make spongy noises. I'll go and write it. Now it's like, I got an idea for a game. Let's have a corporate meeting that's going to last 4 hours.
And that's the big thing here. They producers get their hands involved a lot more now, and the industry, and you can tell how it's hit a peak in a sense. And it sounds like an episode of I Got Gameplay to the truth. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's hit a peak to the point where the gaming industry has gone. It's risen so far up. You're spending millions upon millions of dollars and pounds making these big games, and it's all come crashing down in a sense.
I think as well that outside of that, where it's all gone wrong is, and I understand how the corporate nature of the beast works, which is they make you can't just sit down and do something. You have to have a meeting about sitting down and doing something, and therefore everything just gets like complicated, convoluted, and expensive. Whereas back then it was just, I got an idea in my head. I'm going to sit in my bedroom for 4 weeks and write it.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. You don't want to basically, like, I think one of the original engineers, like games that kind of perked up after the gaming crash with the Amiga 500 for a big thing that came out was Lemmings. That was a UK game that came out over here.
Yes, people forget that actually.
Yeah, and that was programmed entirely on Amiga 500. Again, me and my brother tried to kind of start programming games and stuff like that. Didn't happen because we were kids. We just didn't really. I'm more of the creative type. I'm not the numbers guy. It's kind of one of the reasons why I never went into graphic design, even though I'm a pretty good drawer. I can illustrate. Just don't do graphics. I don't. Figures and me don't work. But the big thing about that was, the industry went from being this big, huge craze to the point where people were pulling back the reins and going, well, I want this game done, but I want it done on budget. Or I want this game done, and you've got to meet our constraints. And instead of having about 20 different companies that you're programming for, you only had two. And
Yeah.
both these companies had constraints that reined these developers in to the point where people weren't making money. Unless you were the Oliver twins, of course, who were, they were making the money because they had people on board with them and they had the know-how themselves who knew what they were doing. They even said with Blitz, they were allowed to just create their games.
And the game that made them, noticeable or popularity-wise or sales-wise, they openly admit it was Super Robin Hood wasn't actually that good. But
Yeah, they talked about that. I had like an interview with them quite recently about the new game that they've developed, which is amazing. I've been playing it like fucking gangbusters. I'm going to do a review on that soon. Um, it shows the amount of quality that's come out of the industry and the amount of people applying their craft. But the problem is, it causes so many issues. You know, the gaming
I
industry.
think what's happened with Konami is a perfect analogy for this right now.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know what happened to Konami, Konami are basically downgrading their company, delisted themselves from the stock exchange, and moving over to mobile and PC gaming. And a lot of people don't understand this isn't the
I meant about
company.
Hideo.
Yeah, well, this isn't the company themselves that has had the problem. The issues with Kojima's issues kind of span from that, because they were going in that direction, and Kojima didn't want to go into that direction. Japan's trends are walking away from consoles now. People are more and more in Japan getting addicted to PC gaming and are being more into mobile gaming. So what happens? Sega said, well, fuck that, we're not doing any more console based games, we're just going to focus on PC and mobile. Apart from Atlas, of course, we're still doing what they're doing because Sega's given them free reign to do what the fuck they want because they make money. Then you got Konami doing the same thing. Kojima had a problem with it, and there was apparently issues between him and the CEO of Konami. They've got issues, and it went to a point where he was basically looking at killing any buzz that Kojima's had. The Phantom Pain is going to be the last Metal Gear game. They've taken Kojima's name off of it, and there's a whole load of hoo-ha going on. Kojima has then fought back because, and I have to admit, this is kind of Konami's fault on this. And
Drop the ball
he's
massively.
refusing them to use the Fox engine. So what did they do? They kind of threw their toys out of the playpen and said, well, we're not making Silent Hills. And that's caused issues.
Spite for spite, and who suffers? The gaming
industry. Yeah, I agree. The gamer suffers. But in the end, though, I will have to admit, gamers have become privileged. It's not an industry about wants anymore. It's privileged. I buy you a game, I have the right to tell you to go fuck yourself. Or I have the right to threaten your family. Do you know what I mean? The industry has become this big cesspool in a sense. I'm not
spoilt child with expectations above its, not above its weight, but not appreciating who the people are who put shit into it in the first place.
But that's the big thing here. You know, it gets to that point where you've got to look at it from this scenario. Nobody in their right mind, way back in the 80s and 90s, were able to, we still had these magazines, people would still talk about their games. People just buy the games. We're consumers. That's what we're built for. We consume. You see a game on the shelf, you pay your $60 for it. Nowadays, though, the internet has become such a powerful tool that we can come in and say, I didn't like this. Or you've got tons of internet reviewers on YouTube. I myself are an internet reviewer on YouTube. And you have all these little things happening and loads of these little devices that are moving towards more of the gaming industry. And you're getting the good and the bad. You get the good people in there who just want to play games and give feedback and help companies nurture these games to make them better.
I was just going to say, can I just add on to that, which is you get the good and the bad, which is you get good people in there, but they're throttled by the corporate consumer groups they work for.
I agree.
Comes back to what you said, the entire thread came from Bedrooms to Billions, talking about the UK in the early 80s, which is, that's why bedroom programming was great. Some bloke just went, I got an idea about a bloke who jumps over landmines. I'm going to program it. He sat there, he programmed it. There was no big bloke slapping around the back of the head with, corporate fists just going, damn it, I've got a deadline. And you have to do this, and I think that bloke should have a shiny suit on.
Let's check social media. Let's see what the fans say about this on Twitter. How many units have we sold? How many stores have got into this? How has cross-platform compatibility done? How has this done? How have we tested it? Nowadays, though...
And I would like to say to that individual, congratulations, you've just completely removed yourself from your core market.
But it's the same thing with film producers. You've got actors, directors, and writers honing their craft. Then you've got a producer in there going, I don't want that. Cut that out. I know that's expedition for that character. Let's get rid of that. Like, Age of Ultron. I was totally unhappy with that movie because of the fact that, as Simon Pegg put it, it's dumbed down the art of cinema. They went, you know what? Let's take all the story and exposition that we had in the first movie, because everyone knows who Iron Man is. Everyone knows who Captain America is. Everyone knows who Hulk is. Everyone knows who Hawkeye is and Black Widow are. No one needs to know who the other characters are. You kind of do. You've got Pedro and you've got the Scarlet Witch. You need to know who these guys are. No one knew who the fuck they were. Ultron, your lead villain. No one knows who the fuck he is. And then they'll just let's just make it all action-packed and have the big blow-up, that leads to the main event at the end. And it's kind of like a circle jerk moment, do you know what I mean? Oh, it's going to make $1 billion. Oh, it's going to make $1 billion. Oh, it's going to make so much money. And the whole...
They stare upon the franchise and they can't actually see the integral thought of the director. They just see, cha-ching!
But it's killing cinema. And me and Dave had a conversation yesterday about a movie that we're so impassionate about called Electric Dreams. That movie would never work here. It would never work in this day and age, in this time. You know why?
We'll always be together forever in electric dream.
It would be a suspense thriller, for one, right? 2, the robot would have to be fucking evil. 3, the characters, right? This film was a love story.
4, basically. They cast Colin Farrell in it.
Yeah, it was a love story, and yeah, of course, as you said, 4 big name actors. And it would ruin the whole concept of the movie because it would lack understanding.
Who would come along and sit on TV talk shows and just go, I'm totally invested in this project. I'm doing this because I love it and I enjoy it and I really understand where they're coming from. Bullshit! You just did it because they gave you a paycheck and you know nothing about said subject matter, you hollow slag. Sorry, they got.
But I agree with you, and that's where the problem lies here. You've got the producers running the shows instead of the directors and the writers, and loads of money is being invested into these features and into these games that it's losing what the game should have. A big, one, what I was talking about last year, Assassin's Creed Unity, they had to fucking launch 20 to 30 different updates in this fucking game over nearly, what was it, like 5 gig worth of data?
Is it true on PlayStation 3 when you stick the actual disc in, you have to wait an hour and a half for it to fucking update?
That's probably for Assassin's Creed Rogue, probably.
I'm confused because I have an Xbox, and say what you like about Microsoft, but at least their updates are quick.
I agree with you, because what they do is they do it from the start, and they'll update it in the background as well at the same time. But anyway, that's neither here or there. So you have all these issues, and you have companies focusing more on the bottom line than they're focusing on actually cultivating a great game. And say what you want about Nintendo, and even though we've had issues, yes, we've got the copyright issues going on with YouTube because Nintendo are afraid about copyright. I get that.
Thank you for putting something in your actual game to allow you to do something to YouTube, and then when you do it, you get a copyright notice. Good job, Nintendo.
Yeah, and they've also got the fucking Nintendo partnership program that's not available here in the United Kingdom. Again, bad move.
What? You can only have Nintendo videos.
Yeah, and you've got all that, but the second thing that I want to mention about Nintendo is they know how to make a good game. They've always stuck to the whole thing.
They're the most traditional, still solidly, of all the current game makers, which is their roots are still based where it was back in the day, in the sense that they know how to make a product, market products. You may have to wait for it, it may take some time, but you always get a finished product when it's finally released, as opposed to everyone else who just goes, I'm jumping on the bandwagon because this is popular right now. Whereas Nintendo just go, no, this is, you waited because it's clever, crafted, and it's got gameplay in it.
And that's the thing. And if you look at the newest Assassin's Creed game that they're developing, Ubisoft developing, it's pretty much the same thing. Same mechanics, same story with the assassins doing this, that, and everything else. They've added a couple of new things to it as well, but they've kind of pinched them from other games, like the GTS style of rummaging gangs and protecting gangs in order to create your own new gangs and stuff. You have the driver mechanics. Yeah, you have the driver mechanics, and it's not a bad thing. They're trying to do something new with it. But here's the kicker. No multiplayer. They've kind of gotten rid of that. They went, oh, we're just going to do a single player aspect because single player is what everyone wants. And it's pretty much every Assassin's Creed game now is the cut and paste of the same thing. And this is where the problem lies. It's become very fast and furious.
Yeah.
Same sequences, and the thing is, this movie is made over 100 mil, in the fucking box office. But
It's become a failure of the franchise that it is.
Yeah, because it's basically parodying itself. Every movie is basically a remnant of the last. And what do they do to tie these movies in? They just add a bit of a story in there and get the story going on. But it's always the same thing with family. And, someone ends up dying and something happens and some big sequence where Torello and his guys... It's become a lot...
I'll wait for a bit in Assassin's Creed game where he actually turns to the camera and breaks the fourth wall and just says, I'll be back.
Again. And that's the thing. You got to look at it, and what they've done is they'll tell you a story, but they'll tell you as little of the story as possible so that you have to buy the next game. Like Assassin's Creed Unity ties into Assassin's Creed Rogue, so what they expect people, if you have a 7th gen console, they expect you to buy Rogue in order for it to tie into Assassin's Creed Unity that you're playing on the Xbox One or your PlayStation 4. Those games tie into the previous Assassin's Creed games, so if you haven't played them, you can't pick this game up and start from the beginning, because you need the expedition from the last games to find out what the fuck you're doing on this game. Does that make sense?
Even though, it makes perfect sense. But the irony there is, you need to have that follow-on effect to understand exactly what you're doing, where you are, but at the same time, you're playing the exact same product.
That's it. And, another staple of today's gaming industry, DLC. Now, there's a good DLC and there's bad DLC.
We should have saved this for Saturday, by the way.
Probably, but yeah, it's happened. Good DLC, Mario Kart, 200cc, added circuits on there, extra drivers, extra roads, extra items, extra cups. It extends the level of gameplay in the game. Bad DLC, you're basically looking at them cutting certain aspects of the game out in chunks. It's like basically me cutting a movie, making sure that you understand the basic plotline and story of it, and then re-releasing the stuff you should have seen in the cinema in a director's cut, and then a special edition cut, and then an extended cut, and then a CGI extra bonus special features.
It's like basically, buy this, but when I hand the product over to you, the second half of the product's still in my back pocket.
It's like them releasing Back to the Future with the original cut that they did before they hired Michael J. Fox.
With what's his name? Eric Stoltz?
Yes. That's pretty much like that. And I get it. I get there's a bottom line that needs to be made. I get there's money that needs to be made, but you've got to look at functionality. Like the newest big thing, which they're going to oversaturate, it's going to kill the market, in my opinion. Skylanders, Lego Universe, Disney Infinity, Amiibos. This craze, and this is where the console generation of gaming is going to be leading to. Compatibility with devices, with toys, with your penis. It's going to be connected to everything. You're going to
Can I
eventually
make a bold call on this? By the
Go
way?
for it.
I think of all these, Skylanders, Infinity and stuff like that. I think the one that will still be very, very, very sought after, at least still boxed in future years, and Nintendo know this, is the Amiibos. I think the other ones won't have half as long a life expectancy.
Well, if you ask Monkey Spat for 5,000, the guy basically sells them as soon as he gets them for like double the price, I think.
I had a dream, by the way. True story, people. Sorry, being random.
Dave's doing Martin Luther King.
And I'd like to think it shows my moral standard, which is I had a dream that I bought Little Mac, the Amiibo, even though in my dream he was like a plushie. But it's dreams. And then I realized I didn't actually have the money to be able to afford it, so I had to set it back on. And then I walked into a room and I said, who wants to buy this? And everyone bid for it, and I just went, I'm only going to charge you £5 more than what I paid for it, just to make it, not a complete loss for me. What a upstanding bloke I am.
But yeah, this is where the issue goes in terms of gaming and in terms of where the industry is going. The console generation of gaming is going very much into fast food gaming. This is what I call it. Fast food gaming.
They're peddling out junk.
Yeah, fast food gaming of your Maddens, of your WWE 2K series, of your Assassin's Creeds, your... I wouldn't even say GTA, because GTA still has a viable story and they always seem to offer something new in that game, so I'm not going to add that into this. Your basically your Watch Dogs series, which is going to become the next
That's a
viable
good
IP.
point, Burhan. I would like to say that, which is GTA is probably one of the few big franchises that clearly they interject a lot of thought into every subsequent release.
And Rockstar Games, British developer, baby.
Sexy!
Now, going on from that, that's where, I think the gaming is going to be headed. Fast food gaming is where it is. It's the same as fast food films. Basically, what's happening at the moment is where everybody is migrating more to
Chinese
action
special
movies.
effects come back and see me next summer.
Yeah, pretty much. Fast food movies. And that's where it's going on at the moment. This is where the movie industry is heading. This is where the gaming industry is heading. And it's come to the point where audiences, because they don't have enough time and short attention spans, want everything rolled up into one. And it's kind of exactly to clarify what Simon Pegg said about the film industry itself and the way that it's turning. Yeah, and it's kind of sad to see the way that it's going, because it's not the developers that are making these shitty games when people complain. It's
Their hands are tied. They're forced. They're restrained, if you will.
It's by the producers who are listening to the audience.
Yeah.
You.
Bunch of yes men in a fucking room who have no understanding of coding or anything even closely related to making a bloody game in the first place.
And that's the thing, and that's where the trends... This is where this bubble, in my opinion, is going to die. Because it's going to burst. The comic book bubble...
It's the dot-com bubble, again.
Yeah, pretty much. Or the bubble that happened with the banks. The banking crisis.
But it's no bubble. Sorry.
Everyone is investing themselves too much into something that becomes oversaturated, and then the market itself dies. And it's actually quite funny, Dave. We're actually sounding like the Oliver twins ourselves, because we're going like bouncing back and forth with one another on this.
I'm the looker, by the way. Actually, wait, the Oliver twins look exactly the same.
Exactly. So you're looking at that and you're looking at the way it goes. And yes, I know that a lot of people will just be like, well, what about the Mario franchise or the Sonic the Hedgehog franchises?
Well, you compare it to the zombie craze. I mean, I love zombie movies. You compare it to the zombie craze in cinema that happened. I mean, mainstream, like Hollywood cinema, which is, hey, kids like this, let's make lots of these. And then they just flooded it and lambasted it, and then people got bored.
Or the musical bubble that happened when they killed it off with Mamma Mia, which was like the final nail in the coffin. Or the X Factor bubble, which in the States...
Don't say that.
In the States, that show is basically dead in the water, and American Idol is dead. That's on its final season.
People famous for fuck all ability.
Well, not necessarily. I think there are some credible musicians that have come out of those shows. But in the end, it's fast food. Fast food for your brain. It's what it is.
Consumption for the masses.
Pretty much. And one thing I want to point out is I watch shows like, for me, the great shows like Supernatural. I think TV for me is where my new intelligent story has come. TV, and
TV's become the new cinema, technically.
Yeah, it has. Because it's doing what cinema was trying to do. It's become episodic. You have great stories and you have well-written characters that you can establish, and you can go from episode after episode, even a season, to know who these guys are. You live with them, you basically walk with them, you understand them, and it gets to the point where you're so invested in them, when something happens, you just get, torn. It tears your heart out. Like the finale of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., if spoilers for those who haven't seen it.
I was just about to say that. No spoilers.
There's an incident that happens at the end when one of the main characters gets chewed up by something. You don't know what happens. It gets swallowed up. You don't know if the character's dead or not. We wait for the next season to find out what's happening. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone's going fucking ballistic about it. Very well written, very well done. Daredevil. Again.
Oh, fucking Daredevil.
An amazing show that doesn't soak itself in convention. It strays away from what the original movie did, and it actually elaborates a lot more in the comic book. You get to see the rise of Wilson Fisk, a man who basically, honest to God, wanted to do good, but he was a project. And I think someone actually mentioned it on Facebook: nurture versus nature, right? Wilson Fisk is a project of nurture. His environment. He went from a bad background. He was being beaten up by other kids. His mum was being beaten up. He was a fat kid that used to love food. His mum ends up killing his stepfather. He kills his stepfather, and his mum helps him cut the guy up and hide the body. Do you know what I mean? And it gets to the point where he's a kid that's been so badly beaten and has been taught all these ethics of trying to be the big thing.
Makes you question your moral ambiguity, because he's an absolute prick, but at the same time,
You can empathise with him.
yeah.
And that's the great thing. It's great storytelling. It's very unique because you never know what side of the spectrum that you're on. And
Plus, I think it's hands tying in what we've talked about so far. Excuse me. His hands were massively. Sorry, people. I live in Bristol. We got smog and shit. His hands were freed up massively by the fact that the route they went with the production of the show, which was, it's going to be a Netflix exclusive. So I'm sure they had producers with their hands in the pie, but it's a lot more free a product that it could be, as opposed to when the traditional routes of main network television.
And that's the big thing there, Dave. And this is what what you got to think about. They didn't stay around conventions. They didn't put it towards a certain audience. They put it out
It
there.
was a sleeper. It was a surprise. When I found out that there was I literally found out about Daredevil driving to work one day, and there was a big billboard poster saying, first 12 whatever episodes exclusive on Netflix, and there was a picture of Matt Murdock as Matt holding his white cane, and in the background there was like a violent adult scene of Hell's Kitchen, and it was just like, wow, I didn't know anything about this. There was no big shiny production, promo on TV, or trailers in front of other cinematic movies and stuff. It was just, oh, wait, what? Daredevil on Netflix?
And that's the thing. It was one of those which was built up by Marvel. It was being built up to lead into another two set of shows, and then a series called Heroes for Hire. But because it actually became a sleeper hit on its own, it's been added for a second season. So in the end, Daredevil is going to be expanding into an episodic series as long as everyone else is happy with it. I love it. The progression.
I love it, and I have to say, and I'm not going to give too much away with this, but thank you, Burhan, for letting me watch Daredevil. It was brilliant. Seriously, it was like porn, but in comic book form.
But that's the thing, and that's kind of you can see the transparency between Age of Ultron and Daredevil. I prefer Daredevil towards Age of Ultron because Daredevil, you could actually understand why these characters are going. There was enough more time. The pacing was a lot more slower, so you could actually understand what the characters are going through, why they're going through it.
You could almost argue that they were like freed up a little or relieved by being on TV, in the sense which was it goes back to the classic original Hulk series on TV, which is we have to build, we have to build, we have to do this, we have to do this, as opposed to cinema where it is you have to do this and you have to rake in this much money in one fucking go.
That's the thing, and this is where it goes from there. Is you're building these characters, these dimensions. You're doing everything that you can to make it work, and from there, as you're progressing onto the current format, it kind of leads you back to how everything has become more oversaturated, and you've got these companies doing big, huge cash cows. Disney is doing an amazing job with Marvel, and I'm not going to say it's a bad thing, but I think what was lacking in Age of Ultron was it kind of they tried to do the same thing it did with the first movie, but there was no build up. They didn't allow the other movies to build into it, if that makes sense.
Work was done behind it, but there was no payoff.
Yeah,
really.
And you had the established characters, but you had new characters that you didn't understand what the hell they were doing, and it was kind of leading on to the Infinity War movie that's going to be happening next, because with the Vision using one of the Infinity Stones to kind of power the Vision. which is not a great thing because it means that that's going to eventually, like, he's going to eventually
Yeah.
die.
And also, people, by the way, I'm sorry if you like him, and I know taste is subjective. I always find the Vision a crap character.
Well, he's pretty good in that movie. One of the things that I didn't like as well, and I love the guy as an actor. He's a great actor, someone superb. But you could tell that Robert Downey Jr. just didn't really give a fuck.
Signing in for a paycheck.
Not necessarily. I think he was just going through the motions. He's not really trying to do anything new with Tony Stark, which is kind of where the problem lies. Um, and the thing is, I think that he's probably going to be a lot better when it comes to Captain America Civil War, because he gets to play more of the antagonist rather than the protagonist. You get to see a more twisted version of Stark, which is probably what you're going to see in this. But as I digress from that, because we're talking more about the movies and the mechanics and stuff, when we need to go and talk about the politics. And it's the same with the gaming industry, where we've reached that even keel, and eventually, and what people are thinking of, it's eventually going to lead to another gaming crash. But there is a good positive side to it as well. What Bedrooms to Billions has done,
Restored my faith in mankind.
it's also enlightened people to the fact that the industry's gone full circle. From the days of programming and being able to develop a game as one person in the bedroom, you can do that still. Mobile phone, Apple technology, you can thank Apple for this a lot. You can also thank Microsoft for kind of following suit, and Android as well. Because these devices are allowing people to program games on a very minuscule budget and to get an excess
You,
of...
you know what? Yeah, you're totally right. We've come full circle in that sense. As much as I'm not a massive fan of these constant apps and micro transactions and freemium and stuff like that, we come full circle. That we've acted, especially with the Ouya, even though that's not app, but although it is app technically,
Well, it's an
we come
app-based
full
console.
circle. That we're back where we began with greatness.
Exactly. And the great thing about the Ouya is you can actually program backends. So you can program little emulators and bits and pieces into the console, so you can play all your favorite retro games and stuff. You've got
You own one, right?
Yeah, I do. You've got the return of retro consoles. I can even sync my my Pro controller from my Wii U. I can sync it to the Ouya.
Nice. Really?
Yeah. Because it's a Bluetooth device, and the Ouya works with Bluetooth. It works pretty much like the motion controller. So yeah, you've got all these kind of pillars of the gaming industry, and it's become full circle. And even though I know people app games and mobile gaming is killing the gaming industry, digital games are killing the gaming industry, but it's also created a renaissance, a resurgence, a kind of a phoenix rising.
The little man.
Yeah, of the little man coming back into the gaming industry, as long as you know how to program. But it's also created all these fucking shysters that we had back in the day who were like, learn to program, send us £100 in an envelope, postage, self-congressed postage, and we'll send you this
self-congressed.
this 25 video series on how to program. Video 1, press start. Video 2, put the code in.
Exclamation mark, number key, 5 equals blog on screen.
Pretty much. And this is what the thing is, though. That with the industry becoming more fast food, you still see people who are standing out in the industry because people are programming. One of the positive things that the Oliver twins said to me when I interviewed them was, if you want to program for the gaming industry, it's not about working for a company or interning for someone anymore. It's about making your game, your first IP, even if it's shit, putting it out there for free, and then using what you've learnt there to work on another one.
Stepping stone. It's like an unwritten CV, if you will.
Pretty much, and because of the rise of YouTube, you're able to basically go in and learn how to code yourself using tutorial videos. I learned how to open up my Nintendo 3DS using a tutorial video. I learned how to grade color using Sony Vegas so that I can make a camera pop, the images pop for a movie that I'm editing, and make it sharp just by going to YouTube and looking at a tutorial. There's literally a tutorial for everything. YouTube is not just videos where you can watch someone play a game anymore. There are ways to use this thing to actually do what you love and make money doing it. The thing that makes me laugh about this is so many people are going out there and they're not understanding this. The industry is your oyster. You know,
There
you
is the
can,
flip of the coin. The flip side of the coin, though, which we
yeah,
had back in the day and we get now, which is we have this renaissance of people going into this. By the way, people, this podcast is no longer on comics; it's on games.
yeah. Well, I think we got to that.
The,
We're
the,
kind of a
the,
bit of
the,
both. We're doing a bit of both. It's me and
the
Dave rambling about what Bedrooms to
Well, that's
Billions has
what Burhan and
done.
The Boy is.
Yeah, us rambling.
The flip side of the coin is you get the good, you get the great, you get the best of people who generally sit there with a fantastic idea and plug away in their bedrooms, and then that sounded really bad. But then you also get the other side, which is it has enabled people, right or wrong, to also give us more shovelware.
Yeah, of course. And this is where the thing is, without the industry that we had, we wouldn't have had ID software. You know, we wouldn't have had Doom or
Id.
games like that. You
Can't
know,
say ID. I said ID once to one of the people who actually worked at ID, and he said it's id. And he
okay,
was really
id
offended.
software. We wouldn't have had the Oliver Twins. We wouldn't have had Blitz. You know, we wouldn't have had gaming like franchises like Grand Theft Auto that came from the United Kingdom. Without the UK and the gaming industry that spawned from over here and the
That's
talent
right,
that came from
world.
over here.
Rockstar came from us. You're welcome. Sorry.
If we didn't have any of that, we wouldn't have had these amazing IPs. Without the independent industry and the indie game industry, we wouldn't have all the great games that we currently have that are padding out your PS floors, that are padding out your
Your
Xbox
PS
Ones,
floors.
floors, fours, or padding out your Xbox Ones. We wouldn't have had anything because these people are out there making new ideas and cultivating them. And these guys are children of the industry prior. You know, these people
Yeah.
are probably the ones who played your 16-bit consoles and your 8-bit
I
consoles.
wonder how many people who actually are, still coding for the modern systems actually grew up on bedroom culture on the Spectrum, the Commodore, the Amstrad and shit like that.
A game that a lot of people enjoyed, Tempest series. That was quoted by a guy called Jeff Minter. He's like, shown predominantly in Bedrooms to Billions. He does like a speaking tour, and he's a guy that he doesn't really give a fuck anymore. He's just kind of one of those guys who just wants to sit down and have a cold beer, but loves to tell his stories and talks about his time in the gaming industry. And it's a shame where
What's the story about the bloke behind writing the theme tune for Commando? Wasn't he on the Commodore 64 on the SID chip? Which is, I'm a Spectrum fan. Don't get me wrong. I have somewhat love for Commodore, but I'm a Spectrum fan. But didn't they basically lock him in the office overnight and just said, "You will not leave until you write a theme tune for this game"?
I think so,
And
yeah.
and then he left the next morning. I'm quite surprised that wasn't in Bedrooms of Billions. Quite surprised that you do that now. You call the old Bill and say like, "I'm being held to ransom. Come and get me and save me." But no, Trooper John. Oh fuck, what's his name? John. Shit. Google it, Burhan.
John shit.
No, John. John the shit. John the shit is the name of my next dookie I'm going to take tomorrow morning.
John something or other. You can Google it, folks.
Is it Rickman? No, it's not Rickman. Never mind. Shut
Something or
up.
other. But that's the thing. When you look at it and you look at so many people who have actually carved careers in the gaming industry, voiceover artists, musicians, programmers, you name it. There's a lot of people that are going through it, and people are still passionate about the games.
I think it's safe to say that we got the truly great games, not the rehashed, re-released sports titles and shit like that every year, by the people who were forced to start in their bedrooms, basically, because they still got that, endearment, addiction, love, and just belief, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
As opposed to corporate little knob jockeys who just go, "I want Assassin's Creed .97 or something."
and that's the thing that you need to understand. Don't get disenfranchised with the gaming industry. From what we've started in the UK, we went from bedrooms to billions. and it's something amazing. I'm proud to be part of the UK gaming industry.
I
It's kind
am,
of
and people forget, and it's a fact I've said on many of your podcasts, Brian, but I'm going to say it again, which is people forget that in the world in 1980 to 1984, the United Kingdom was the biggest producer of computers. Period. Like it wiped out Japan, it wiped out North America, wiped out Europe. We were the hub of home computing.
exactly. And I wanna point out one thing as well. It's kind of the one thing that people need to understand when it comes to the industry itself. If you want change, independence, the indie development industry is
Go with
where
your
it's at.
wallet.
Yeah, go check out your next Kickstarters. Don't just look at the big guys like the big dogs. I know the newest title that's coming out from the original, Igashi's Castlevania successor, which, by the way, if it hits 3 million, guys, we get a copy on the Wii U. So make sure that happens.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you've got that. I know people like that and they're giving that 3 millions, but I'm talking about the pixel noirs, the games that never got made because people did not invest their wallets. If you see a game that you like, if you think this game's going to be the next big thing, do me a favor, share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with everybody that you can get out, scream to the hills. Because if you
Don't piss and moan that you don't like the way modern gaming is going when all this undercurrent of indie and individual developers, well, they're one and the same, never mind, are going on underneath your feet and you didn't even bother to take the time to check them out because therefore you have no right to complain about, oh, it's not fair, I just got Call of Duty and it's exactly the same as the one before. Well, you bought it and it was 40 quid. Why didn't you look at what's going on around? Because like, oh, I can't invest money in that. What's the point? But it stops the gaming community being sterile, you twats.
thing when it comes to the film industry as well. But there's a film that came out,
It's
and I
actually,
talked about
no,
this in I Got Gameplay, Kung Fury, that came out. The director
love that
wanted
movie.
to put a passion project out that had remnants of the 80s and 90s in this, that reminded him of the old Kung Fu movies that he did, but do it in a different style. He managed to get this movie made with a team of people, and he raised the funds for it to make it, thanks to each and every one of you that donated via Kickstarter.
It's
Don't
funny you say that actually, Grant. Look, where is it? I bought a zombie. I love zombies. I bought a zombie movie the other day. Because well, I got the zombie. People out there who don't know this, I've got the zombie rule, which is I love zombies. So anything that has a zombie in it, I have to buy it. And I've bought a pretty large chunk of shit because of that rule. It's called Wormwood. This is the exception to the rule. It's called Wormwood Road to Fury, and it was a crowd-funded independent Australian zombie movie. And in the special features, you get to see the original like 8 minute short they made. That was really polished, really well produced. Great special effects, and that's how they funded this entire movie. And my God, it's an amazing movie. Production, everything, direction, absolutely fantastic. But the point I'm trying to make, going back to what Burhan said, was it was crowd-funded, so we can make a difference.
And that's the main thing here, guys. I'm someone who loves this industry. I love the film, TV industry. I love the gaming industry. I'm a big fan of storytelling. I think stories should be the main focus in anything that you're in. Unless you're playing a game just for the sake of playing a game. Um,
Which I wonder how many people who buy. Right, granted, I buy Call of Duty, but I buy it for the single-player campaign. I might be the only person in the world for that, but yeah, yeah. How many people buy Call of Duty just because it's got COD stamped on the front?
but that's exactly it. And
It's like it's there's a I was going to say soccer, but I hate that phrase. It's like football jersey mentality, which is I'll buy it every year simply because it's ever so slightly different, but I want the latest version, and then I'll leave it in my wardrobe and get bored with it within 3 weeks.
And that's the thing. You know, for those people who want a new Silent Hill game, there's games out there that could probably. Or if you want a new
And
Castlevania
sadly, we
game,
won't because of the way they've gone.
well, that's the thing. But there are ways around it by supporting the next great thing. And you know, I know there's this whole thing about e-begging, but in the end, right, you can't sit there and call someone an e-beggar when you're donating to a Kickstarter project because you want a new Retron 5 system.
No,
You can't
that's
call
not called e-begging. That's called vision.
or if you're someone who's got like a Patreon account because they want to make YouTube videos doing what they love to do. And it's the thing that kind of bugs me about the whole thing. The community has become very proactive, but they've also become very nihilistic as well at the same time. Focus on the pros. If you want to change the industry, you can do so. And this is one of the industries.
Be proactive, people. It's you who makes the decision.
Yeah, and you know, Xander Scullion, a good friend of mine, pointed this out, how it's like the turnabout of the music industry. Do you know when the music industry went from discs to MP3s, how it ended up like nearly dying because people were pirating music?
Well,
So,
it actually tied back into what we were talking about with bedrooms to billions. It goes back straight to the go straight back to the day, which was. Do you remember those big commercials they put in newspapers saying home taping is killing computer
yeah,
programs?
and that's the thing. It's got to the point where people are basically pirating these things. So what the artist said was, okay, this album isn't going to be the thing that makes me. My touring's going to be the thing that makes me. So the perception of the industry changed. Now the big companies are dying slowly, like Def Jam, Universal Music, they're Motown. These companies are dying because they're not making the money that they should do on these albums because they're being pirated and because of iTunes and stuff, who are able to sell you a track instead of selling you the entire album. Before, if you wanted to listen to a track you liked, you had to buy the album. So now instead of getting the cow, you
Or
can just
take it
buy
off the radio.
yeah, or instead of buying the cow, you can buy the milk. Does that make sense? I think it does.
Yeah.
You know, so what they've done now is said, well, we can use this as a way to promote our tour. So if these people are buying tickets, these million people who are pirating our music are going as a million people to our concerts, then we're still making the money back. So what do studios do? Okay, instead of we'll take a slice of your record sales, but we're also going to take a slice of your concert sales and your merchandising in order to make our money back. So we'll invest in you, but we're going to make sure we take a huge chunk out of your potential earnings.
And then we'll drop you the minute you don't tickle our fancy.
Pretty much. And what artists are doing now are becoming independent. They're trying to kickstart their albums. Like Megaran is kind of one of the artists who've done that, where he's a huge part of the music industry, but he's not a part of the mainstream music industry. He, you know, manages to release albums with different labels. He tours like anyone's business. He sells merchandise.
Credibility.
Yeah, and a lot of it's credibility. He's a great guy. He's developed a huge fan base, and he's managing to continue to churn out a very successful career based on the fact that he's got, you know, on the music that he's done. And he's kind of expanded himself from being an artist who mostly did chiptune work and rap over video game beats to now rapping over, like, you know, a great album, a huge album that's been slept on, which I think people need to check out, Soul Veggies, which is Megaran and K Murdoch, I believe it is. And it's a great album. It was in the, I believe, Billboard Top 100, and it was also in the Top 60 as well. It, for me, it was one of the greatest concept albums that I've listened to this year. You know, it was great. I purchased it myself.
Buy it.
I purchased it myself, and this is the thing. And he's also managed to kickstart a documentary called Megalomania, which is released on Netflix. He's put it on iTunes. He's put it everywhere, so he can basically continue to grow. And he's doing a lot of the mass marketing promotion on his own, and he's doing tours everywhere. And that's the thing, peeps. If it wasn't for the internet and the gaming community and the
It's
basic,
proof that there is life outside the constraints of normality when it comes to mainstream production, if that makes sense.
that's the thing. Corporate, like America, corporate the UK, corporate anywhere doesn't exist anymore It's becoming the fact where the power is getting put back into the hands of those who are creating rather than those who are producing, and that's where this should go. And so, from what I would say to each and every one of you lovely people out there is, if there's a comic book that you want to see, support it. Sign out of happiness. I talked to them at the MCM last year.
Everyone started from nothing. Everyone started from nothing. If you look at mainstream corporate media and comics in particular, and you look at your Todd McFarlane's, everyone started from nothing. So why don't you help, appreciate, support, and fund someone that you like outside of conventional ways? Because you never know where it's going to end up. You may get your next Todd McFarlane or Egg Larson. I was going to say Rob Liefeld, but he can't draw feet or gun clips,
or actual bodies with proportionate frames.
but he does draw. He does draw tits really well.
Very true.
But my point is, don't piss and moan that you don't have something you like, or you complain about the corporate system when these little people who are genuinely talented are floating underneath your eye line.
And that's the thing, with the constraints that are going on in the industry at the moment, when it comes to creating games, when it comes to actually, I would scratch that. When it comes to creating movies and TV, because the gaming industry, anyone can do it now. And that's the thing. You don't need extortionate amounts of money to make an app game. So you can do that. If you're releasing free games, you can take a game you like, take the concept from it, and make your own version, like they've done with the Five Nights at Freddy's games. What people have done, like I think recently someone actually made a variation of the Metroid game for the NES.
There's a version on Spectrum, by the way. I got gameplay coming up on it. I actually found it by complete accident, and it was approved by the actual creators. But there's a version of Metroid on the ZX Spectrum, homebrew, obviously.
Wasn't there a version of Halo as well?
That's on the Atari 2600, I think.
Ooh, I see.
I did the gameplay of Castlevania on the ZX Spectrum. That was actually, forget it's prior to the state that Konami in right now, but some bunch of blokes in Russia decided that they wanted to make Castlevania on the Spectrum, and they thought they circumvented copyright by making an entirely new game, despite the fact that their intention as such was to make it look like the 8-bit NES games. And it's a really good game. And I can tell you why it's a really good game, because you're playing a really good version of Castlevania when you rage quit 15 minutes in and swear like a fucking Catholic schoolboy being fingered by the Pope. Sorry.
And that's the thing. You've got games coming out on the PC Engine still. You've got games coming out on the N64 still. You've got people who are making homebrew versions of games that they want to see. You had the gentleman who made a Unity version of Super Mario 64, which is fucking amazing.
And let's not forget Pierre Solar on the Mega Drive.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And people need to understand that the industry has gone from strength to strength, and there's a lot of people coming out there who are making games for older platforms and older consoles that have kind of been decommissioned.
I think it's safe to say that no system is dead as long as people have it in their hearts. And when you got stuff like the NES, the Master System, the Mega Drive, the Spectrum, there's still a lot of love for it, that it's still technically a viable platform.
Agreed. And then that's the thing, and me and Dave usually don't agree on a lot of stuff, but we do agree on this. If you want to see the industry...
I agree on the fact that you should shave.
Well, I have.
Hey!
Yeah, I've shaved the tash off. Didn't you see my picture? There's a picture of me in the Batman t-shirt. I'm clean shaven. But for each.
I saw that. Sorry, hang on, people. I saw that, but my brain's so used to seeing your Freddie Mercury tash that it kind of superimposed it back in.
Yeah, it's gone. So yeah, for each and every one of you out there, support the industry. And now, I've got a bit of a somber note to make. And it's
Don't fart.
No, it's kind of a downer, and I do apologise to anybody that you probably had the buzz of today's show, probably enjoyed a lot of Burhan and The Boy. I myself the MCM Comic Con is going to be my last endeavor as an interviewer in the United Kingdom, and reason being is,
You can
when I
say England, Burhan. You can say England.
well, yeah, um, the reason being is, as a gaming journalist, so to speak, or so-called gaming journalist, as you want to put it, I started this up in, when was it? Right about 2010. 2000, no, 2000, 2012. Sorry. I started off basically doing podcasting with a gentleman by the name of Tony Mango, doing a show called Smack Talks. I, you know, I then went on into a gaming show because I always wanted to do a gaming podcast called I Got Gameplay. I Got Gameplay is still going to be around, so for those who still are
Promise?
going, yeah, it's still going to be around. There's no issue with that. But my whole thing about this and about my presence here in the United Kingdom is I can't go too much about it because I don't want to make it like a downer show because I know I vent too much about my own situation. I've been doing this now, and I've been sitting there looking through my old show reels and stuff in terms of an actor. I've always been working in the TV and film industry, whether it's pitching
My
projects,
favourite one is you looking like Freddie Mercury in a World War One costume.
whether it's like pitching projects, whether it's like acting in projects, or just working consecutively in front of, behind the camera, and now even editing. I taught myself how to edit and produce content using like Sony Vegas, DaVinci Resolve, Adobe After Effects, to name a few. And my whole goal was to be someone who was self-sufficient, who was able to pitch projects and develop stuff. The problem is, in the UK, in the United Kingdom, the industry itself costs a lot of money. In order to get an agent, you've got to be paying 250, probably 260 to a thing called Spotlight, which just puts your name and your credits out there. And it gives you
What's that? It's like an actors union or something?
not really an actors union, it's more an acting casting website, but you need a Spotlight pin in order for agents to even give you a look in, right? Then you've got to pay equity, which is an acting union. It's our version of the Screen Actors Guild. Then, in order to do that as well, if you're basically need to get your face out there, you've got to attend BAFTA events, you've got to attend filmmaking events, you've got to go to film festivals. Even if you're not making something, to schmooze with these people and get your face out there. If you don't do this, you're going to become irrelevant. And the thing is, for the last 5 years, I haven't been. I've been stuck at home. For those who don't know, I used to work a steady job. That didn't happen, and I'm now on the public dole system here in the United Kingdom, which is getting cut consecutively year by year. I've seen it get cut, and at the point where I have literally nothing past my own funds to do anything else. Once bills are paid, I'm done. And I've been trying proactively to kind of find something in the area that I love in order to do it. Now, full-time work has been very, very scarce, and there's been reasons behind that. I'm not going to go too much into it because there's no point. As I said, I don't want to make it a downer situation. Just say there's a few complications in my life that's stopping me from leaving freelance and going into a full-time job. If that makes sense. So freelance is kind of where I'm at. So I'm looking to kind of migrate over to the United States and do what I'm doing here over there. I don't want to keep going in circles to the point where every bit of content I've made on my YouTube channel, every bit of film competition that I've entered into, everything that I've acted in has been for free. I haven't asked for any payments. My showreel stuff has all been freebies. There are the occasional projects I've managed to basically get paid for, but everything's been there for free. And it's gotten to the point now where I've just, I've got to move on. Things in the United Kingdom aren't that great. My own personal hasn't, is not that great. So I've got to basically move on. So what I need to do is, the MCM is going to be the last time that people are going to see interviews for me. I'm still with Retro on Limb. I'm still going to do the podcasts, hopefully, as long as I've got a valid internet connection wherever I end up next. but for now, this
You
the
said
shows, yeah, the shows will continue, but I won't be doing interviews and stuff, and that's the thing. And for those who say open up a Patreon, I'm not well known enough to open up a Patreon for. I'm not well known enough to go at that, so I'm kind of going to be doing my own ways, trying to raise funds and stuff, and also work on my own projects in order to kind of get those up and running. But yeah, that's it. And I know it was a bit of a weird tirade. People just sitting there going, "What the fuck?" But it's the way it is. I love this country. It's a great place. The United Kingdom is always going to be my home. But it's as many a great person has done. I've just got to find my feet and find out where I need to be elsewhere. So there we go. You can find me basically, guys, on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/TheNerdGenius. I've got a short film that I'm going to be releasing on this weekend.
Oh, I saw your Facebook post.
Yeah, it's basically a film called What We Are. I developed it in November. The person who edited it was kind of... I'm sure he was great, but from
For
what
some reason, I thought you were going to say drunk.
what I've been told is he doesn't like to put the effort unless he's being paid. So, there we go. I have to say, it's annoying at the sense, but it is what it is. The problem is with anybody in this industry, everyone wants to be paid. Not many people are like me, where I've been working. How many years has it been now, Dave? Like 3-4 years consecutively for nothing, no money.
Four.
Yeah,
At
4
least
years.
four.
4 years I've been working, providing free content for nothing. Not for nothing, but you know what I mean. Like no money. I don't get paid for it. I'm not expecting people like, oh, fund my Kickstarter and get me paid. The end of the day, it is what it is. I do it for the sheer love of it. I act for the sheer love of it. I direct for the sheer love of it. I do my interviews
Shave
and
his
stuff
tash for the sheer
love of it. But it's it's kind of where the industry has gone. So it's either I got to do it myself, or I have to find people who are looking for that experience, who are willing to work with me on a project at a deferred basis. But hey, shall we go for your plugs, Dave?
You can find me. I can't do dark. I have to save that for Slamcast, which means nothing to everyone, I know. But you can find me on Long Place Post 1975 on YouTube. If you like your retro gameplays, you like your vlogs, random questions and stuff like that, then come and check me out. And you can also find me on Facebook, as Dave Wade.
Facebook.com/Michael Burhan, Facebook.com TheNerdGenius, Facebook.com I Got Gameplay, of course. I Got Gameplay this week.
Which I'm on.
I'm trying to find out what we're going to be doing, who we're going to be having with as a special guest. You just have to find out when we shoot the episode.
Fingers crossed.
Yep. Next week's I Got Gameplay, we've got a very special guest, Larry Bundy. So you can check him out on his YouTube channel. He's great. He does Movie Mistakes. He does loads of other little shows and stuff like that as well. He's all on Patreon. He creates a lot of amazing content.
The greatest calling out of people who have stupid crowdfunding.
Yeah, and he's very active on Facebook as well. So go and add him. Make sure that you check him out. I'm going to have a very nice interview with him. We're going to pre-tape it on Monday and hopefully have it up by the weekend.
Oh, I'm working.
So, well, it's at 9 p.m. Are you going to be working then?
Yeah, work nights, mate.
I thought you got the week off.
Hang on. This Monday.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Okay.
No, wait. I'm not. Oh, shit.
Well,
I got my bank holiday. People out there in internet land, this means nothing to you. The way my night hours work means I get Sunday into Monday off, so I have Sunday off, but not Monday. Oh, bollocks. I would love to talk to Larry. He makes me smile inside.
He's a great guy. So I've got him. I've got another guest being lined up. I've got to get confirmation first before I talk to him about it. I'm going to be interviewing another.
Is that who I think it is?
Yeah, and also I'm also working to see if we can get GameSack on I Got Gameplay as well for an episode. Can
we have my dad?
Yeah, if he wants to be on the episode.
It'd be really funny. Have my dad as a guest on the episode. He'd just go, I have no idea what you're talking about. That's actually how he sounds, by the way.
But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it from us. As I said, head to my channel, youtube.com/TheNerdGenius. check out a video of me eating a big burger. I've got another burger challenge coming
Don't,
up.
people, because your colon will scream.
Well, I've got a new burger challenge coming up in 3 weeks. I'm going to
Got
be
my
doing
curry challenge coming up as well.
the Burger King pizza burger challenge, but I'm going to have to probably do it with a twist because it's not available here in the UK. I'm going to
Is
make
that the one where the outsides are actually, actual pizza?
Yeah,
Or
it's
actual-
basically it's a bun, but it's got a pizza base at the top, a pizza base at the bottom, 6 burgers inside, plus
Jesus
salad
Christ!
in the middle. So what I'm going to do is
You're gonna die. Is what you're gonna
I'm
do.
going to make this burger, and I'm going to have the mayo and ketchup that it has in that one, and
I love mayo, Burhan. I love mayo, but I don't know what the burger challenge is. But why would you put mayo on a burger?
it's a pizza burger. So it's got
Why would you put mayo on a pizza?
instead of the bun though, I'm going to actually use 2 pizza bases.
Technically, I have beaten you to this on this one, by the way, which is I cooked a burger about a year ago, or grilled a burger, and then realised that didn't realise until I went to the bread bin, and oh fuck, I got no bread or buns. Shit. So I took 2 of those little quid pizzas you get from Asda out that you can microwave, and I wrapped them around my burger.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do 2 like £1 pizza bases from Iceland. I'm going to put 6 burgers in those. I'm going to put the sauce in there, and then
Really? 6?
6
Do you want to
burgers.
die?
I may double that. I may do 12.
Oh,
And then
hang on. In the words of Connery, dear God, I'm stupid.
so I'm going to cook those burgers first. I'm going to place them in the
You're
the
gonna
pizza
cook your
base.
fucking innards.
I'm going to place those in the pizza base after I've like lightly cooked the pizza, and then I'm going to pop them.
I like the fact. By the way, people, he cares about his cholesterol. He's gonna lightly cook it.
Yeah, and then I'm going to basically put the sauce on, pop the other one on, let it brown a little bit, take it out, cut it into 6 slices, and eat that motherfucker. So, yeah. So
I don't want to be your toilet the next day.
just say I've still pooped out the remnants of that last eating challenge.
And true story, people. After his last eating challenge, and it was a day and a half afterwards, I think it's no lie that my street flooded. Because his dookie was so dense, not even Patrick Moore could escape from it. And when it hit the Thames, fucking hell.
Just say I was pooping for like days. It was terrible. But yeah, enough about my colon. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Burhan and the Boy. Check out our next show on the network, which will be Slamcast this
Tom's back!
Friday,
Yay!
which will be Brandon Ligger, Nick Horacek, Tom Shaw, Mr. Dave Wade. I will be missing due to the fact that I have my commitments to the MCM Comic Con. So I will see you guys.
You selfish prick.
I will see you guys on I Got Gameplay Saturday, and then Sunday.
I'll be on that, by the way, peeps.
And then Sunday, I probably will be dead. So there you go, guys. This is Michael Burhan for Dave
Eat
Wade
that fucking burger.
saying it's goodbye from him and goodbye from him.
Bye.
See you soon.